Tax cuts for everyone. Let's have a look. Hello everybody, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from news.com.au. Now, this seems to be a common theme among journalists. They want to get clicks. They want people to read their articles. So, you want an emotional pull. You want to get people angry and fired up. And what they do whenever there is any tax reform, they always go, the rich are going to get it all. The poor little worker will be, slapped aside and get no reward. The rich get huge tax cuts under Scott Morrison's plan. Now, I suspect Samantha understands mathematics. I would bet, I'd bet a cardin that she knows this title is just there to encourage people to have a look, to click, to get them fired up. But the danger is there's a large proportion of people who don't understand taxation. Well, let's say, taxation just is horrific to a lot of us anyway. But I mean they don't understand progressive taxation. So of course the rich are going to get more money back because they pay more. That's how it works. It really is that simple. So it's constantly frustrating every time another article comes out like this. They just want to use the underlying tension between, let's say the tall poppy syndrome or the jealousy that some people have of those more successful than them, to gnaw at them, to get their clicks. And I mean, no one can really not understand that if you pay more money in tax and there's a tax deduction or a modification to the tax changes, if we're getting tax cuts, then you're going to get more back. Do people really not understand that? Let me know in the comments if you've encountered people like that. So wealthy Australians, including Scott Morrison. Oh no, Scott Morrison is going to get a tax cut. You know who's going to get more of a tax cut? A lot of the public servants. Guaranteed they'll get big tax cuts too. Will be $11,640 a year better off under proposed tax cuts. But it's a different story for others because other people don't pay tax. Now, is she actually going to explain this properly or just try and really spin up a piece? Because it's just frustrating. Do people really fall for this stuff? I guess they probably do. It just shows you. Just the fact that something like this can be written and not just laughed at hysterically shows you that our underlying understanding of financial education here in Australia is in the gutter. That's what it shows you. If people can fall for a piece like this and not understand that someone who earns a lot more money actually pays a lot more tax, that probably has more to say for our education system. I mean, you can have a look here. It's just going down and down and down, everyone. That building education revolution, yeah, that really was a good investment, wasn't it? So part-time workers will score a measly $255 a year under the tax cuts the Morrison government is considering bringing forward. But the wealthy, including Prime Minister Scott Morrison, will ultimately secure a stunning $11,640 a year windfall. Yes, but how much are they paying in tax? You haven't mentioned that. Samantha, you haven't mentioned that. What are you doing? Wealthy families on six-figure salaries are on track to secure huge windfalls worth up to 20 times the value of low-income and part-time workers under the legislated tax cuts by 2025. Now, any taxation cuts are fantastic. We need to simplify our tax system here in Australia significantly. The government needs to reduce a lot of the burden that they're placing on the citizens. I mean, look at it. They're setting up a scheme to entice people to Australia, developers, probably developers, to get talent for Team Australia. That's how it's pushed at. And it was an ex-property council senior person there. That's just what we need. How about you just get rid of the burden you put on the citizenry, and then those that are mobile will come here. It's really quite simple. You can take that one for free, government. That prompted a warning that the Morrison government would be better off increasing welfare payments or tax cuts for low-income workers if they really want people spending to stimulate the economy. Okay, increasing welfare payments or tax cuts for we're already getting everyone is getting this tax cut. Okay? Everyone. Low-income earners. You can't... There's only so much you can cut. You know, there's only so far you can move the tax-free threshold. Maybe they should just increase that. And then the rich people will still get a deduction. And they'll still be complaining about that. Move it up to 100 grand. Every person gets 100 grand free, tax-free. What about that? You know? ANU Associate Professor Ben Phillips told news.com.au that the rich are more likely to stash tax cuts into savings accounts and pay off personal debts, including credit cards and big mortgages, rather than spend the money and stimulate the economy. Well, everyone is now, actually. Ben, everyone is. We saw ANZ and CBA were you know, they're in a tough situation because everyone is paying off their credit card debts. Billions of dollars worth of credit card debt have been paid off. I talked about it, well, yesterday, and I issued it this morning. Fantastic way to start Father's Day for all of us. Great news. You know, slash those credit cards. And it's interesting actually seeing some of the comments that people have left of how they've... One person mentioned, I lost my job, got a redundancy, but I paid off all my debt. Unemployed but debt-free. So it's a unique situation to be in. You know, at least in one regards, there's less stress with that debt gone. Off your back. Get that weight off your back. We know that people are saving at higher rates than ever. Oh, yeah. Over 19% at the moment. It feels almost un-Australian. You know, we're the inventors of hipster lay-by, a.k.a. Afterpay. Maybe this is. Maybe I've been prattling on again and again and again that this recession could be a what-if or never-again moment for people. It could wake a lot of people up to just the financial mess they may have gotten in. The fact that they're so dependent on the government supporting them that they, you know, maybe you need a good slap in the face sometimes to wake up and turn around, turn the corner. Are Australians going to become a nation of spendthrifts? Oh, they'll hate that. They'll do whatever they can to stimulate the economy there. Here's the trick, guys. Let's just not spend anything until they really just cut taxes to nothing and then just start, you know, getting rid of all redundant services they're providing. I'm sure there's a lot we can find. So, we know that people are saving at a higher rate than ever. It will have some small impact, but most people would say you get a bigger bang for your buck with tax cuts at the lower income end or welfare, he said. So here's the recession. Yep, we're at 7%. Household spending. Consumption is down. Spending on services is down. Spending on goods is down. Oh boy. Transport. Well, this is one thing. A lot of people are saving money now because they don't need to go to work. That's transportation costs. How many people are going to learn to work from home and adapt? Maybe they only have to go into the office once or twice a week. That could be. So we're going to come out of this with new home furniture and a drinking problem too, as well as, you know, some extra cash. Look at that. The highest rate since 74, 19.8%. Probably, honestly, because people can't spend the money. You know, it's really good saving money when you don't go out, when you don't do anything. This is one of the ways that we've noticed we save money is we do a monthly shop. Once a month, a shop. Because then you don't go, every time you go, oh, I just need to get milk, I just need to get this, I just need to get that, and boom, $50 gone on shopping. It can really disappear really quick if you're hungry. It all adds up. It all adds up. So, I mean, there you go. One person said the advantage of the lockdown is I can't go out, my mortgage is getting or evaporating before my eyes. The Australian Council for Social Services is urging the Morrison government to deliver a permanent increase to JobSeeker before it fast-tracks tax cuts for the rich. In a discussion paper, Restoring Growth, Tax Cuts or Payments and Services, ACOS warns bringing forward the tax cut won't stimulate the economy if the wealthy workers don't spend the money. The second and third stages of the government's proposed tax cuts are skewed towards high-income earners. In the context of high household debt, much of these tax cuts will be saved, the discussion paper states. In contrast, a $75 a week increase in New Start and related allowances for single people and single parents will mainly go to the poorest households and regions. Since they have little choice but to spend any extra dollar on essentials like food and rent, the money would be quickly spent, lifting jobs and growth in the regions that need it. The tax cuts the Morrison government is considering bringing forward are worth $20 billion and are currently scheduled to come into force in 2022. Well, they need to bring them forward faster to help stimulate the economy, regardless of what they're saying here. So here's your taxable income and the total annual reduction. So if you make 20 grand, well, you don't pay anything anyway, pretty much. If you make $21,000, you'll get another $87 a week. Let's go up to 40. You'll bring home another 580, 50,000 over, 1080, up to 90,000. Then you're at $1,215 extra a week, and we're talking decent sums. Over $1,000 is reasonable. You can put the stash set aside. You can build it up over a few years. 100 grand, you're getting $1,665, and then the most anyone will get is $2,565, going up to 200 grand. So there you go. I mean, it's just a progressive tax system. Of course, the people up here are getting more money back because they pay a lot more in tax. A friend of mine, works in medicine. He paid more tax than his wife earned. That's just how life is sometimes, guys, okay? I know the lefties all want us all believe this fantasy that we're all equal, but no, we're not. We all achieve different things. We all want different things from life, and that's a good thing. You want a merit-based society where everyone has opportunities. But, that don't fly with the socialists, does it? So Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has repeatedly flagged he's considering bringing forward the tax cuts to help kickstart the economy. Well, what would you do if you had an extra $2,000? If you had an extra $255 or extra $90 a year? Would you put it aside? Would you spend it? Let us know in the comments. I mean, how many of you would throw it right into silver? Again, we'll provide those details when we get to the budget, because obviously these are issues that are still under consideration, and what we did take to the last election was a three-stage plan which would see the abolition of a whole tax bracket, the 37% in the dollar tax bracket, he said. It would see 94% of Australian taxpayers pay a marginal rate of no more than 30 cents in the dollar, and that is fantastic. That's what you want, guys. One big tax bracket between $45,000 and $200,000. It's important that people recognize that tax cuts put more money into people's pockets. More money into people's pockets means more spending, and more spending means more jobs. But these are still under consideration, so I don't want to add to the detailed speculation. You'll have to wait until budget day. I mean, that would be fantastic. Simplifying our tax system. If you just think, okay, until I hit 200 grand, I'm paying 30 cents for every dollar. That's instantly a simplification and more money for people. And the biggest thing is, once consumer confidence ticks up, once there's a bit of certainty moving forward, then you'll see the spending will go. It'll climb up. It'll come in a burst. People will start spending. But, I mean, they should do both, honestly. If they're calling for increases to New Start, I mean, New Start is pretty bloody low. I think the rate that they have it now is too close to the minimum wage, so it disincentivizes people from working. But they really should increase it to at least something a little bit more, reasonable. I mean, it is an emergency payment to keep people from destitute and to reduce the necessity for crime. It's one of the benefits of our civilization. But you also have to realize, if you've ever taken advantage of any minimum wage in your career, and perhaps there are people that can't operate at that capacity, so they can't work, then, you have a duty of care because the government has artificially influenced the market, so it has a responsibility to take care of those it's left behind. I mean, doesn't that make sense? You could make the counter-argument, if you could reduce the minimum wage or even remove it entirely, then everyone could have an opportunity to work, and there's self-respect that comes with that. That's something I would consider, but there really doesn't appear to be the political will for that here in Australia. We're not that brave a country to try exciting things. We're definitely not. I'd love to see some special economic regions where the free market is allowed to actually exist, and we test it and we experiment. But I can't see that happening, not in the near future. We need to plant the seeds here in Australia. What do you think, everyone? So, the second stage of the tax cuts the Morrison government has flagged, it is most likely to bring forward, will lift the income threshold when the 19% tax rate kicks in from $41,000 to $45,000, and the rate at which the 32.5% tax rate is from 90,000 to 120,000. Well, that'd be good. Pull the 19%. So you get, what's that? You get 45 grand tax free. A third stage of the tax cut, with a tax rate of 32.5% to apply to the vast majority of workers, is currently scheduled for 2024. It will apply a 32.5% tax rate on all incomes between 41,000 and 200,000. That's the tax change that will ultimately deliver the Prime Minister a 11,640 a year tax cut. Okay, so what? So it means we're all better off. It means those people there that are on 41,000 or on 45,000, they're getting $4,000 tax-free. By comparison, a part-time worker earning $30,000 a year will secure just a $255 a year from the planned tax cut. Well, here's a thing. What you could do is you could not be a part-time worker and try and find other work to get a bigger tax cut. But you're also paying less. I mean, people understand this. They don't fall for this stuff, do they? Do they? A worker earning $75,000 a year secured a $1,080 a year tax cut under the original 2019 tax cuts, rising to $1,830 by 2025. But the biggest benefit of the tax cuts kick in when workers are earning six figures. Oh, wow, that's shocking. While the tax cuts are worth up to $2,565 for anyone earning 120 grand, from 2023, the windfall gains for higher income earners keep rising. By 2025, or early if the tax cuts are brought forward, the tax cuts will deliver $4,400 for a worker on $120,000 a year. Now, you've got to understand, this is the workers' money. This is their money. This is our money that we work for. Okay? What they'll do, they'll bring these tax cuts in, and then they'll just up GST. Something. They'll do something. But still, I mean, I think it's quite disingenuous how she's framing this. It shows a lack of, it's framing it in a way to create a class divide. I wonder if it was written by the organizations advocating for increased welfare. It's low-income workers who have not only borne the brunt of the pandemic recession, but also delivered some of the biggest stimulus to the economy by raiding their super accounts to pay for general living expenses and purchases after they were stood down and laid off. Labour's Treasury spokesman Jim Chalmers said the ALP would be constructive, but wouldn't sign on a proposal the Morrison government had not even confirmed. Because the government haven't announced that, they haven't said that's exactly what they're going to do, he said. They've hinted that they might change some of the existing tax scales and thresholds and rates. I think it's entirely responsible for us not to sign up to something that we haven't seen. There's not a blank check here. We'll be responsible, we'll be constructive, we'll engage with any concrete proposals. But it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to sign up to something when they go, okay, they haven't even talked about it. So do you think the ALP could get in the way of your tax cuts? Do you think they could do that? What would happen to them then if they get in the way of your tax cuts? So what do you all think? Do you think this is a disingenuous piece to get emotional response, to get people angry? Does it show that journalists just don't understand mathematics? And do people actually fall for pieces like this, for articles written like this? The rich get bigger tax cuts because they pay more, you bloody nincompoops. What do you all think, everyone? Are you looking forward to the tax cuts? What would you spend your money on if you get it here? Let us know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there's a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.